Back to episode number 153 of Citizens United. I'm John. There's Noelle.
Hi guys.
How's it going, everybody? We're full strength today. We got Gail here, Gary's here, Robin's here. So when they talk, I'll try to put their names up on the thing so you guys can see. Because someday, because the stars, you know, we get stars, and you guys that give us stars, thank you. 99 cents gives us 100 stars, and the more stars we get, the more chances we have with Facebook and getting advertising, and also that 99 cents goes towards us maybe having more equipment and you can see everybody and microphones and all that fun stuff, along with the Catch a Predator stuff that we are going to do. Dennis Hannon's going to help us.
Yeah,
we're going to do it. I cannot wait to do that. Before we bring in, this is going to, hi, Chris. This is part 2 with Katie Rifford. Her brother Kevin is here. You have something first before we get going.
I do. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. Like, I'm going to show you guys something after Katie and her brother are done with their stuff. But I want to talk really quick about a guy, Callum Nunn.
Picture time?
Yeah, let's show his picture. He was dating a girl, I'm not going to say her name, for 3 years. He was a very controlling person. He eventually posted, thought it was okay to take pictures of her, naked pictures of her and inappropriate pictures of her, and put them on the internet, on an internet dating site for people to see. And then he tried paying her off. He wanted to try and pay her off. And this is somebody who's going to be a Niagara Falls firefighter. Okay, this is somebody who's possibly going to work for the city of Niagara Falls as a firefighter. We have proof and evidence of this guy on recording. There is a video, which I will show you guys after we're done with Katie and her brother, Kevin, of him admitting everything, admitting to him trying to pay her off, admitting to him posting the inappropriate pictures of her. So be careful for this guy. This guy, we can't have somebody like this working as a firefighter. We just can't.
And it's another situation where here we go putting a predator in a position with vulnerable people.
Right.
I mean, now you're going to make him a firefighter and he's going to be responding to emergency situations and to people who are in need. And this is the type of person that he is.
And supposedly this girl isn't the only person he's done this to. There might be 2 more from what I understand, but you're a sick person if you're taking naked pictures of somebody while they're sleeping and you're posting them for everybody to see, like as for what, like a get back type thing. That's like revenge pornography in a way. Like it's he could go to jail, and he should go to jail for it.
She has to press charges.
Something.
Yeah, she could easily press charges.
Something seems like hidden here, like almost a closeted type act,
like
which is fine. Hey, do what you gotta do. It's fine, whatever you want to be, but it sounds a little odd to me, doesn't it?
And so later on, after everything, I will show the video of him admitting to doing everything that he did.
All right, let's bring our guests in. We have Katie Rifford back with us for part 2, and her brother Kevin is with her. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you today?
Good. Noelle, did you enjoy the thunderstorms earlier today?
Oh my God. Yes, I love it. I get so excited.
And now I always think about you when I hear, I'm like, oh no, I'm so happy.
Oh my God. You should have seen the one day when we were all here doing the podcast and it all of a sudden got blackouts and there's thunder and I'm like, I couldn't even concentrate on the podcast. I wanted to run outside so bad.
Wait a minute. I think Stacy's saying hi. Stacy says hi. Hi, Katie. Hi, Kevin.
Hi. Hi, Stacy.
All right, guys. Sorry, you're back, and I'm glad you're back. Thank you, because there's so much, as we were talking even before.
Yeah, you guys got a letter from the judge right after our last podcast, right?
I did, and then I actually heard from him again today, and I'll be sharing that. So I haven't really shared anything on any kind of social media about it yet. So this will be a first, I guess, showing of it.
Can we? Go ahead, Gail.
What judge?
Kevin Carter.
Oh, Carter.
Kevin Carter, yeah.
Kevin Carter, he's like the head, like the administrative judge for the 8th Judicial. He oversees the whole 8th Judicial District, which is like pretty much all of Western New York.
Well, I wrote to him for the Nick D'Angelo debacle, and he wrote back and said there's nothing he could do about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are taxpayers paying him for? Just to like sit behind the wizard behind the curtain? I mean,
yeah,
he won't take phone calls either. So he's like protected in his little, you know, office in downtown Buffalo, and yeah.
Can we? I don't know if you sent me a really nice picture, and I was going to put it up if you guys would like. Everyone, it's a beautiful picture of her children. Let me bring that up, but let me black out the screen so you can actually see it better. Let me see how I'm going to
now
do
this picture from
I'll explain why we wanted to share it too. Once you
is it from when you had them at the time?
So this was I'm gonna get emotional.
That's okay.
This was the last Christmas that my children, Olivia and Mason, spent with their cousin, my niece, their only cousin, Cadence. Cadence was just a little bit shy of turning 3 years old, I think, before we went into hiding. She's now 7. This has had a great, this has greatly affected her life, being separated from her cousins. My children were pretty much raised alongside of her. We were, my sister and I constantly were, you know, doing activities with them or just hanging around, you know, the house with each other, so our kids could be always together. And my niece, who's 7, like I said, she hangs on to every memory that she has at 3 years old. And she's like, oh, I remember when, you know, Olivia taught me how to be a mermaid, and she showed me how to do window art after a rainy day. You know, you use your fingers and the condensation and making art. So it's been really hard, because how do you explain to a 7-year-old that, you know, their cousins are not here with us, and she hasn't. It's been 4.5 years since Cadence has seen her cousins, and 4.5 years since my family has seen Olivia and Mason. So yeah.
And they look happy, healthy, everything. I mean, there's absolutely no reason to take them away.
Yeah. And this is what Niagara County Family Court has done. This is what my abuser and his abusive family has done, all to hurt me and my family. And really, the ones paying the price are those kids that you just showed on the screen. So,
I mean, everyone out there, really, all you guys out there, think about what we're talking about here. It's been 18 months or going on, right, for Katie, for you to see your children?
Almost 1.5 years for me. And then, like I said, 4.5 years for everybody else. And these were children, my children, who my family helped me raise them. My brother helped Mason learn how to take his first steps. You know, just we were always doing activities, going to festivals. Like this time of year, we'd be going to the Erie County Fair. You know, we did the Lewiston Art Fest, all that kind of stuff. We have all the pictures. We used to do barbecues, all that stuff, and it's all gone, like, because of what the crimes of what has happened in the situation. So
they put them in the hands of somebody who didn't even want them.
Yeah. I think that's the part that disgusts me the most is, and not only didn't want them, but abused them. So, you know, it's horrific. And, you know, when Peter took me to court, Olivia was 7.5, and the judge never once said, Judge Labio, she never once said, why now, Peter? Where were you the first 7.5 years of this girl's life? I mean, even Jason Caffarella, the AFC at that point, was like, yep, there's no relationship between the children and the father. And then the next thing you know, he's telling me this just recently on court record, well, you know, to everybody in the court, that because I want my children, I'm going to do anything to get my children. Therefore, I shouldn't have my children. That was his rationale.
Wow.
What an idiot.
Wow.
What an idiot.
Yeah, like how dare you want your children, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Then he never put the child's wishes on the record. And actually, I've been doing a lot of research on that. And that's actually a major, like, ineffectiveness, of counsel for my children. So he needs to be disqualified. I mean, he should have been disqualified years ago, but for sure for now, I mean,
Definitely. Yeah, his hands are in so much in our county. It's sick. And everything that he's in, all the way from landlording, from simply being a landlord, all the way to
every time somebody has something to say about him, it's something bad. Like there's nothing good about the guy. He's just not a good person.
I had someone ask me a question. I think I asked it to you last week, but I'm going to ask it again. So it's going to be repetitive, but it's for someone who I don't think saw it last week. Dia Bakerly. That's how to say the name.
Yep, Dia Bakerly.
Hold on. I have the question written down. Okay. What does he do for a living? Or what did he do? And what does what's the connection to Niagara County other than you? Or is there none?
I'm not aware of any connections to Niagara County. When we did report Judge Aaron DeLabio to the Judicial Committee, the New York Judicial Committee, misconduct, whatever it's called. It was weird because they contacted me back and they wanted to know, is the judge related to Peter? And I'm like, that's a very odd question to ask, like right off the bat. Like, do you know something that I don't? You know what I mean? But I'm not aware of any direct contact other than money. And I mean, like I did say, he has an uncle who is an attorney, a very high-profile attorney in Boston. His name is yeah, and we looked up the name. His name is Mitchell Garabedian, and he there's like a Netflix movie about him, like where an actor plays his role about how they, he uncovered with other people like the Boston Catholic priest scam, like, you know what I mean? So yeah. But basically his family has a lot of money and a lot of, I think, money talks basically, and can buy connections essentially.
Okay, yeah, that's what the one question someone emailed me was like, what does that guy do? What did he do for a living, or what does he do? Why are they so powerful?
Another thing too is, like my sister said, we met at the Gow School. We were both working there for a summer before we started dating, and so I don't know if it's someone at the Gow School who has kind of guided him through who to contact or what, but
yeah. I know that there's Garabedians here in Niagara Falls. I know that name from when I was in school.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So there are that name is here in Niagara Falls. Don't know if he's related, but there is that name here in Niagara Falls.
Right.
All right. Yeah. So the other question,
wanted to know what he did for a living.
Yes.
To answer the other part. So he works for his father, and his father owns, like, what would you call it? Like petroleum distribution companies and gas stations. Yeah. Within, yeah.
So they do well. They're doing well. Yeah.
They have like a whole slew of gas stations in multiple states, mostly in Massachusetts where they're from, but in Rhode Island, I know, and maybe some other states. But they also his mother also I want to say it's like on Newbury Street. I think that maybe is what it's called in Boston. She has those, like Boston's has these like infamous, like, what would you call them? Like apartments, like, but they're like these grand buildings and she owns these buildings. So she rents them out for, probably a good penny every month to the tenants.
They're making good money.
And then they have a lot of, like, what are the shell companies, like the LLCs?
Well, yeah, a lot of LLCs. You could, these LLCs are public, so you could search them on, state, business records and stuff like that.
So then they're really, they're well to do. Yes. I mean, they're good. Yeah, they're money wise. They got
like country clubs, like status, like where you get only by invitation because you make a certain amount, that kind of level of,
right. And we went through this last week, but I'm going to say it again, and then you were never charged with anything, right? There's no charges anywhere, isn't there?
No.
Is there?
No, like I'm still technically active, allegedly. But I mean, I keep calling it out when I go into court. I'm like, these charges are fake. I have the evidence, and they laugh and think it's funny. And I'm like, if this is not funny, like, You know what I mean? Like malicious prosecution on somebody's life. Like this is totally, I mean, aside from having my children kidnapped and trafficked, this has totally like ruined my like life, because you Google my name, stuff comes up, and they blasted my name on the news. So my life will never be normal again. You know what I mean? Like one of Olivia's teachers told her the internet is forever, and it's true. Even if these websites have to take the misinformation down one day, there's screenshots that are forever. You know, me in shackles and handcuffs, and
they abducted your children, and they abducted the kids.
And I know it doesn't make it any better, but at least, like I said, I was amazed at the support from other people. Like at least like saying like something isn't right here. There's way more to this story. Like a lot of people had more common sense to know that there was something more to it, that it wasn't right. Like a lot of people are starting to see that.
Right, exactly. And it was a combination of, you know, people from the public who I never even have met, but they knew, you know, just based on what was being told, and that it wasn't adding up. But it was also a combination of people who knew me and my family, and who knew me since, you know, because I went to school in the Niagara-Wheatfield School District from kindergarten through, you know, through graduation in high school, 12th grade. And people are like, there's no way Katie would have ever done anything wrong or broke the law. You know, if she did leave, it was to protect her children. So between those two things, that really, you know, has helped tremendously. So,
now your brother Kevin is there, and Kevin, you've been also really like persecuted for trying to help your sister.
Yeah, I mean, so I could kind of go back in time on this. So I think it was February 15th, I believe, of 2019. Mm-hmm. What had happened was, you know, I served 3 people, actually 2 people, and then the courthouse. So, I mean, there's that. I served Jason J. Caparella, which is Niagara Falls, Randy Margulis, which was in Williamsville, and then the courthouse. You know, interesting about serving, you know, Randy Margulis was, you know, I told his, you know, receptionist at the front desk that I was there to serve him with, you know, court documents. And then essentially what happened was he came out of his office at one point when I was talking to the receptionist, and he started holding up his phone, visibly holding up his phone, pointed at me. So I can't say definitively that he was taking videos or photo of me, but what I can say was it was very odd.
Because that should have been a normal day for him of getting served papers. You know, as an attorney, that's something that, right. You know, and for reference, in case anyone didn't see the first show, Randy Margulis is Peter's attorney, but you can go on.
Yeah. So what I did ended up, you know, being able to serve someone there. I went to the court. The document was stamped on, you know, that date, the 15th of February. The timestamp was around 11 a.m., I believe. Just an interesting thing to point about that is, you know, at that time, the family court was actually stamping the time on documents as well as the date. You know, what we have realized, you know, going back into family court is that timestamp no longer exists on their machine. So it leaves one wondering the question, what happened to the timestamps on these documents? You know, to me, that leaves a lot of room for, you know, sort of bad things to happen. How can they possibly order the events going, you know, forward whenever they got that new machine? So, you know, if an attorney's filing something first, or, you know, someone's doing it after, it just seems really weird that timestamp feature is gone. But to get back on track, I served, you know, those 3. You know, later in the day, I got a phone call.
And the affidavit was that he served, not to interrupt, but the affidavit that he served was the one that said that I was in hiding. And it was like 118 pages of evidence and the abuse, and that, you know, I needed to protect my children. And so that was what that thing was. But yeah, and then so.
Right. To make a long story short, I ended up getting a phone call later in the day. I would say it was probably about like 8 o'clock or something like that, 8 p.m. So, several hours later. And, I had this officer that was wanting to talk to me. I now know his name as Nicholas, I believe, J. Faso. At the time, he was a Niagara County Sheriff's Officer. And to make, to just fast forward through this, we agreed to talk. And then he ended up arresting me. He arrested me for something called, it's a violation known as second-degree harassment. He towed my car. He had my car towed by Pages Automotive, which is no longer in existence. Then I was brought to the jail. I had to pay a $100 fine. I was released within about 2 hours of being, jailed. They told me that if my ride wasn't there within, the 2 hours, that I had to stay there overnight. But, just the other interesting thing that I noticed is you get, like, when you're inside that holding center, you get like an inventory list of like, your clothes. And what I found interesting is they had wrote or, down on that inventory list that like my clothes were like in a bag. But I mean, I had my clothes on the entire time. I pretty much went in there. They made me, kind of like take out my inside of my pocket, like inside out, see, what's in there, whatever. And then I was just put in a room with my, normal clothes on. And I just sat there for 2 hours until I could get my ride. And then, yeah.
And they arrested you for being, you annoyed them. You that was the problem because you served them with papers. Is that pretty much like, what was the hell did they?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, I had served Caffarella and Margulis. So it's just very, very odd that I end up getting arrested later in the day by Nick Faso.
And for anyone who watches the podcast, the name Faso is, a known, and I'm going to come out and say it, a known crime family in Niagara County.
Huge criminals. They're criminals.
Yes. And they're running Niagara County essentially like it's the wild, wild west. And they're thinking that they can get away with this because no one has ever been able to, take down their reign of crimes.
Right.
Janelle's words, Janelle Faso says that they're trying to build a Faso empire. That's what they're trying to do. She actually said that they're trying to build an empire. So they want to take over the city, and that's what they're doing, and they're being allowed to. And in the meantime, they're allowed to commit crimes and break the law. And
right. No oversight. Nothing. Yeah.
Let me ask now. So then the Kevin, has there been a court case? Like what ended up happening in that arrest?
Yeah. So for this, it was brought in town of Wheatfield in front of a town justice known as Gary Strinkowski. I politely asked him right from the beginning to, recuse himself as, I made him aware that my sister had something going on in family court with Judge Aaron DeLabio. And he refused to do it. So I was brought in there pretty much every week. It seemed like they would keep on bringing me in because they really wanted me to have a lawyer. So, I mean, I ended up getting one. I ended up getting an attorney. And that attorney ended up leaving me pretty much high and dry right before the trial.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't give him Nick.
Yeah. No,
right. Anyways, can I hold on a second? Do you see what this guy's doing up here? Did you see the private message I just got?
Which one? No, I
didn't. All right. I'll talk to you about it later. I'm sorry, guys. I just, you know what it is? I got my stuff here. And then all of a sudden things, yes. Jesus, God. I mean, my God. You don't know what I'm doing here. I mean, this isn't like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just ready. I've kind of just about had it at some point. I know. Anyways, sorry. Okay, so they left you high and dry. And what did they end up doing? Like, so did they end up finding you guilty of this or?
So, actually there was a.
Well, tell them about the cross-examination.
So I need to tell you about that. So this was a trial for a violation. This particular violation, like the maximum fine, I think was like $350 or something. I got it reduced to $250 by asking for it to be reduced. So I said, I'm not taking the ACD. I didn't do it. So I said, let's go to trial. Let's hash this out there. To make a long story short, it goes to trial. My lawyer's not there, so I'm going to have to do this on my own. So what ends up happening is I do it on my own. Nick Faso takes the stand, and I get to have, my time with him on the stand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I asked him a lot of questions on there. I asked him, how many cars, because according to, town prosecutor Matt Brooks, he alleged that I was tailgating him and that he was turning his signal left and then going right and then turning his signal right and then going left. But he alleged that I continued to follow him. And I asked him a series of questions. And, he admitted that, there was, a substantial amount of, cars. I said, how many cars could I fit in between your car and my car? I believe it was somewhere between like 6 to 8 car lengths that he had stated. And this is all in the transcripts. So, it was just his own testimony. I didn't get to have a jury trial. I wanted a jury trial, but apparently for a violation, you just don't get one.
They prevented him from getting the body cam and the dash cam footage, saying that if he released it, it could prevent the officer, which is Nick Faso, from getting a promotion.
Yeah, and that's right from Patrick Weidel. I put in a request for the body cam and dash cam footage from that day. They prevented me from getting it by stating that the case was currently in the town of Wheatfield court, and that by giving me, says right here, it says the camera footage could be used to evaluate the performance toward continued employment or promotion. This request is denied. So pretty much, wow. I was denied my exculpatory evidence that would support my statement that we had agreed to talk. There was no annoyance. There was no alarming, no harassment.
This is unbelievable. So you're just not allowed to prove. That's it. It's right there.
When Nick Faso was transporting Kevin to the jail, he asked Kevin, why are you helping your sister? So, clearly this was retaliation for, my brother helping, to, advocate for my children and I. And it was predetermined, much like my trial in family court. It was predetermined before he walked in there that he was going to be found, guilty of.
And if you guys don't mind, I'd like to elaborate just a little bit more on that. So what ended up happening was, later down I ended up appealing. I ended up appealing this myself. And what ended up happening was the chairman of the legislature at the time was a person named Keith McNeil. He ended up denying my appeal, but the denial wasn't based on any law. The denial was based on the fact that they deleted my footage. They said that, no request to preserve the footage or a body cam or anything like that was put in, therefore they deleted it. But what I would like to say about that was, I also requested the rules and regulations, policies and procedures regarding preserving the dash cam and body cam video. They also denied me that. So what I want to say is, how could anyone have known to preserve any video of any kind that they maintain if they don't even give out the rules and regulations of how long they preserve it for? How would I have known?
Right. Yeah. It's insanity. Yeah. It would be the one thing, of course, that would show you did nothing wrong. And here in Niagara County, it just doesn't matter. Yeah. That's wild. I think
that happened to him on day one of literally, serving the affidavit to show you keep advocating for your sister. This is what's going to happen to you and your family. We're going to go after you guys. And they did. They used those 3 years doing all kinds of stuff to my family.
Yeah, it was pretty much punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But if I have one more thing that I kind of wanted to, touch on here, if I could.
Of course.
My attorney said he got a letter from, Matt Brooks at the Wheatfield Town Court. And, I had to pretty much beg him for this letter. I ended up getting it to him after a second letter, after he had already dropped me as a client. And, this letter, indicates that Nick Faso is the one who said that I should put in the FOIL request for the video. Therefore, that's how it should be done. So I have a town prosecutor, Matty Brooks, telling me that I should FOIL the video because Nick Faso said that's the proper way.
So they're allowing Nick Faso, the one who retaliated against my brother, to say this is how you get it.
Why is the town prosecutor taking directive from the police officer who arrested me for a violation of how the video should be obtained? That doesn't seem right. It doesn't sound right. But I have the letter. I have the letter.
Yeah, so imagine, I mean, that's body camera stuff. I mean, so screw it. I mean, you kill somebody and we just can't see it. Right. It just doesn't matter. Wow. Yeah. So every time, Noelle, I feel like we've hit the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. We go deeper and deeper into shit because this is crazy. I mean, I can't, Kevin, they were really, I mean, you had no way, right? You had absolutely no way to prove you didn't do anything.
Right. It was Faso's word, which he knew that the court was going to favor against his, and they were determined to.
And they were already going after you.
Well, look what Faso did to Kay. Look, I mean, they tortured her family. They had to move out of state.
That's true.
That happened with Faso. They tried going back after the Fasos. They went after her so bad that her and her whole family had to leave state.
Yep.
I mean, that's how bad they retaliated.
Now, I know too. It seems like with some video I got that there's times where. Like, there's a video you sent me where it looks like it must be Dia Bakerly with like they're like stalking you. There's some crazy video I saw. Like, here, let me show you the one I found.
Okay.
He won't leave. Here's Peter. He's already dropped her off, and he won't leave. He won't leave now, even though both children are with me, he's watching my every move. From right here. He will not leave. And I'm just curious as to why he needs to stay here to intimidate me, even though both children are now handed over. The supervisor is now walking to her car, and Peter is still here and will not leave. So this is what I deal with on visitations, and it's unfortunate. My safety, I am scared for my safety and the children's safety as well.
I have one more. Let me play this other one. I hope.
You could call probably the sheriff personally, and the sheriff.
Call Sheriff
Latour. The sheriff himself. I've spoken to the sheriff. They are very concerned. Everybody in the Niagara County Sheriff's is very concerned with these kids, and they will personally do stuff to help these kids. Every single one of them.
So it appears they were just, I mean, and there's another one. There was a video I didn't get where there's someone, and I don't know if that was Peter or who, like almost like doing a 3-point turn. Might have been right at your house, like stalking you right where you live.
On the street, yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's with the help of the county sheriff's department.
And he's been coming to your family's home too?
Yep.
Yeah. He was coming to my family's house several times. He would just park his car like out on our street and just, sit there. And then, on the one day I actually went outside there, and I filmed it, and, that's really all I could do. It was, just document what was happening.
And our neighborhood is a very it's not like Niagara Falls Boulevard where you have to drive by it, to get to the main thing. It's a very private kind of neighborhood that you have to deliberately turn down to get to our street. And then, when he's over there taunting that, every single Niagara County sheriff is willing to do whatever he needs, them to do. And then, at the end it said that he paid a tremendous amount of money, which now we know what that tremendous amount of money was used for. So yeah.
Yeah, that's,
before I went into hiding, I tried getting orders of protection. And DeLabio would say, oh, I don't think it's, a order of protection is a very serious thing. I don't want to put that out there just yet. And she would just basically slap Peter on the wrist and say, don't do that anymore, Peter. I was treated horribly both times I tried to get an order of protection. I think the audio is there on the internet to access to see how they treat, actual victims of domestic violence who are looking to protect themselves and their children. But then when Peter wants an order of protection, DeLabio signs one, so I can't talk to my children or see them or anything. And when I ask for a reason, it's not even one that a family court has jurisdiction over, because family court is a court of a limited jurisdiction, and they can only basically, have make rulings on very specific prongs like harassment, stalking. I don't know. There's a bunch of other ones like obstructing, someone's airway, that kind of thing. And
I did did he ever, it's another question I got. Did he ever pay child support at any point?
So from 0 to Olivia's 7.5, 8, no, it wasn't until we got to family court. And then I had an attorney who did all the paperwork, but other than that, no. And then and I was going to touch base on this to get more into the abuse about what had happened with that. So one of the ways I was abused was, in order to get any kind of money for the children, I was basically sexually abused in multiple forms. Like he would, demand that I do certain things or require me to do, I'm not going to get into major detail here, but yeah. And I have the text messages that prove that. I have the report that I did with Detective Gatos at the Niagara County Sheriff's Department that went into that. So.
And that just falls on deaf ears. They just don't even.
They didn't even. He said he was gonna get in. He wanted to know to let me know when Peter's in town next, for a visitation, and I'm gonna confront him and try to get him to confess to some things. And he never even did. That was all just a farce.
Just a piece of garbage. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, always goes back to that at some point too, because they're just sick.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I was going to ask you one other thing before I want to let you keep going. I just want everyone to understand again that we're looking at somebody, and I think people don't get this. We're looking at a person, a woman and her brother that have not seen these children in 4 years for one and 18 months for the mom. This is insane.
Mother had her children ripped away from her and handed to an abuser. Handed to an abuser with proof and evidence to show that he was an abuser and didn't even want the kids. I mean, to put yourself in her position, if you're a parent especially, you have to put yourself in her position and think what the hell?
And also our government did this. They stole the kids. Yeah. In a way you would not believe. I mean, you explained in what happened in New Mexico when they rushed you and the whole thing. This was
the point too. She was not marked as a wanted person.
Right.
She was marked as missing, not wanted. She was known as missing. So
does it ever still, and I know it's something I get hung up on so much when I think of this, and maybe I shouldn't, but the fact that you don't get charged after all of that, trying to say that you're kidnapping people and you're doing all this stuff, but you're not. You know what I mean? You'd think there would be
So, looking back from the time where I was arrested on March 2nd of 2022 to where we are today, I believe that I was arrested and they had these charges on me this whole time, so I couldn't move full steam ahead in family court, that I'd be complete, you know what I mean? Not many people can, survive being maliciously prosecuted, going from court to court to court to court, saying, do you know how serious these charges are? You're looking at 4 years in prison, being threatened by Judge Haydinges at one point when she was on the case, saying, removing my witnesses and saying tell your family to take down social media or things aren't going to end well for you. So, you know, extortion,
Wow.
threats. Yeah. So that was, I think, just to kind of make it so I was basically drowning in the criminal world, court world, and couldn't move full stream ahead, and also to taint my image. So if I called an attorney, they'd be like, well, look at this I see on the internet. Can you, like, you know what I mean? So,
who was it that told you to take down social media?
It was Deborah Hendages. She's an Erie County Supreme Court judge that they pulled in for the Niagara County IDV court. She kicked the case out of her court after like 3 appearances when it was obvious that you know, I wasn't going to take a plea deal or anything like that. You know, I'm innocent, and I'm going to stand my ground to the very end. Like, I'm not, you know, doing anything other than saying I'm innocent.
I would get me down my social media too. They were telling me I had to take my social media down. I wasn't allowed to say anything, and no. Yeah, and her law clerk, Ann Boland, who sat next to Judge Hendages on the stand or on a bench, she would make the eye gestures, like finger eye gestures, and she would point at her eyes and then point at me while I was sitting in the gallery waiting for my turn to be called up. She would do that. She would go grab her personal cell phone and like pretend she was like either recording or taking pictures. And this is in a Supreme Court, and I'm just sitting there waiting for my name to be called, and I'm not doing anything. You know, I got up out of my chair and asked the court officer, like, can you keep an eye on her? Because like, I feel like very uncomfortable and threatened right now. Like, I don't know what's going on, but this is not, you know, a professional conduct that's occurring right now. But thankfully that was the last time I ever had a foot in that court. But yeah.
I wanted to, with Kevin, you're here, of course, and I wanted to we played a video. I want the people to hear what this one lawyer, Mike Dwan, said to you. And the biggest thing was just the very end. I mean, all of it's a mess, but the very end, what he says about, listen to this, everybody, and then I'll get your guys' reaction.
District attorney, when articulating your sister's situation, said exactly what I did. The only reason that the order was issued by the judge is because your sister didn't go to court. That was it. Okay, so there's another person who agrees with my theory.
I don't believe a judge issues the default judgment on one missed court date. I don't believe it. I mean, I believe a judge will issue something saying if you miss the next court date, then there could be a default judgment, but a judge doesn't rule on a default judgment without a motion.
I've been doing this 15 years. You've been doing this not long at all. And what I'm telling you is, that's exactly what happened.
Well, if you're saying that the judge issued a default judgment based on her one missed court date, then what you're saying is the judge did not act in the best interest of the children, and instead...
No, I'm not saying that. You're putting words in my mouth. This is Kevin's fantasy world, where Kevin gets to string syllogisms together that he thinks make sense. Listen, that you think makes sense, okay? But people that know what they're talking about don't.
Well, I'll tell you this, Mike. I have tantamount evidence, and I'm telling you, over the past month or two, I've connected literally every single fucking dot on the map about how this whole scheme works, about everyone around here. I literally have fucking everything. I have fucking databases.
What do you think it's going to do?
Well,
do you think that Inside Edition is going to come and do an expose?
Oh no, not Inside Edition. I've already been talking to media. Not Inside Edition. That's fucking fake news, Mike. I wouldn't go to them.
Listen, man. There's nothing but fake news. Okay, it's all the same. And what I'm telling you, Kevin, is that no one is going to tell this story the way that you want them to, if it ever gets told at all.
So I mean, we know about Inside Edition. Those people show up when the stuff's all done. They do whatever's easy, you know, and when you really need to do anything. But wow, man, for him to talk, and that's why, I mean, listen to that. Now, what is he again? Where is he a lawyer?
Yeah, so Michael Dwan is a lawyer out of Depew, New York.
Okay. Someone says sounds like a mafia boss. Yeah.
The fact that he admits that he's been doing this for 15 years, it's like, what are you admitting to? Because that sounds like you're admitting to child trafficking, that you have 15 years of experience doing it. You know how the system works.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, they are all brainwashed. Anyone that works in that system truly is brainwashed, because I don't understand how you don't see this is not, it doesn't take, I don't need to be like a detective to see what's going on here. And they're so damn brainwashed that they can't even believe that there'd ever be something going on that, like, whatever happens, I don't care what happens in there, right? It's right. Like, it's never wrong. I don't know how there even is. Why is there even an appeal court? They don't need one, because they're always right.
They're paid.
Yeah, they're paid.
They're paid.
Right. I'm sorry. Yeah. So that guy was just a waste, basically. I mean,
in a nutshell, at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, in the beginning, he started off really good. He said, I have an 80% chance of, coming out with the charge, completely dismissed. Then later on, he started accusing me of things that, weren't even related to the second-degree harassment. And then, I asked him to subpoena the video, and, he agreed to. And then the next thing I know, I asked him to reconsider, the judge putting in a letter to have the judge recuse himself. Just reconsider. I didn't say do it. I just said reconsider. Right. The next thing I know, I get a letter in the mail saying I'm no longer representing you due to irreconcilable differences, and I was on my own.
Wow. So now I got some short videos. Remember, Katie, I got there's some what? Can you set those up? I want to play them.
Kind of give a brief summary of what they are. So we talked about Peter Vito last week, about how he is was hired by my abuser, Peter Dyer Bakerly, and his family to basically harass, stalk, intimidate, chase me in vehicles when I'm driving my children to visitations, all kinds of stuff. So I think we also discussed how they would go door to door, like in our neighborhood. They would go to my sister's in-laws, and basically they're paid flying monkeys that want to paint us as the bad people, as you know what I mean. And I don't know what else you want to say about Peter Vito and those videos.
Yeah, so there's this man. His name is Peter M. Vito. A little bit about him. He's he used to work at the Erie County Sheriff's Office for a little bit. I believe he was maybe a sheriff there or something like that for a little. Then I know he worked at Cheektowaga Central Police Services for a bit, a little longer than a bit actually. And then after that, I know he ended up opening his own. Well, I guess you could, if you look it up in the phone book, it's probably called a PI firm, but I have my other words for it, but I'm going to keep that off your channel today.
Right.
But yeah, essentially what the man would do, he would go door to door. He would say a lot of terrible things about, me. He would, talk about how he was nominated for U.S. Marshal position. Then, pretty much, he said it had to have a 3-year background check for it. And now he's, no longer, getting the position.
Well, because his conduct and what he did is now a part of a website that you can find on the internet.
Right. And like I said, you would say really terrible things. He accused me of being part of an organization that I have no affiliation with. In fact, at the time, I was a full-time college student. Thankfully, I got through that, had my degree. He would tell my family that my other sister, Christina, her husband should have a divorce with her, and he should obtain a lawyer. So he was also trying to ruin, that side of my family. So he wasn't a private investigator. A private investigator goes, gets the facts, sorts through them, try to figure it out. No, he went there with the one mission, and that was just to say anything he could to
destroy us.
Destroy, defame.
Defame, yeah.
Any way he could.
So now I got we've got some four short videos. Now, this is Peter Vito talking to who? Who's he talking to in this video?
My sister's in-laws.
Okay.
And the full, we can watch the full videos. Like there's links on the Justice for Olivia and Mason page. So these are just kind of some brief snippets to, you know, to show.
All right, let me start. We'll go with the first ones. They're all like 20 like seconds long, but
yeah,
listen to this stuff.
Okay. And God forbid something happens to the marriage where your son decides he's had enough. They have a playbook on how to take children and run with children. And really, quite honestly, it's one of the reasons we're out here, because now it's morphed from not only 2 children, but now it's a 3rd child. They have no contact with anybody. They have no friends. Kevin has bragged about being a member of the Sovereign Citizens. And I don't know if you're familiar with what that is. It's a radical group. They were involved in multiple police shootings. And they don't respect law and order.
Is there anything
what I would suggest to you, because this pattern, we've seen this pattern occur before, is that you have your son talk to counsel. Because if they are having matrimonial issues, you want to make sure that he's properly represented and that he knows what they can do. He's witnessed it. So, you know, I guess that's the one thing that we should close with, is if they are having issues, make sure your son protects himself.
So yeah, that's what my family had to endure. You know, how he went door to door, saying all that stuff about my family and I.
Yeah, Kevin wants to, according to him, you're trying to shoot police. Wow.
Yeah, it's about the organization that he accused you of. With no evidence.
I don't like to even reference it, like the name that he said I was part of, because I looked it up, and when you look up that group that he said I was part of, it's literally a terrorist organization.
Yep.
Which I would never be involved with under any circumstance. So the fact that this man's prior law enforcement and like touting his law enforcement credentials to everyone he goes to and saying this, it's really it's beyond imaginable. It's disturbing, and it's straight up. Honestly, when I hear the word domestic terrorism, I think of what that man was doing door to door. That's what I think of.
Yeah,
right? Someone in that same clip. Well, not that you showed, but if you watch the full thing, this is someone who says that he runs a multi-million-dollar business, and he recovers hundreds of children. And to me, what does that imply? Child trafficking. And he aided and abetted the kidnapping and trafficking of my children.
Yeah,
exactly. For money. And you saw like what could be done if you know what I mean. Encouraging my sister's in-laws to have their son divorce my sister just because she's advocating and exposing what they're doing and showing the truth. When you hear him reference, now there's 3 children. Well, now that means not just Olivia and Mason as the 2 children. The 3rd children is Cadence, the little girl in the picture. So he was threatening
going after her
to take her child away. They would call CPS, make false reports on my sister's child, and have people come over to say, "You see this badge right here? It takes children away." All to try to get my family to go away and not, advocate for my children and I.
Yeah, they were trying really, really hard to not have any of my family advocate for, my sister. So yeah.
It's cartel-like stuff. I mean, you want to talk about this?
It's a child trafficking criminal syndicate, is what it is. And
that's your local. That's the county sheriff's department. That's all rolled into one. This is insane. It's not like, it's not a cartel in Mexico.
Right here in our backyard in Western New York, this is what's going on, and this is happening to everyday, honest, people who are just, living life and loving life, and helping others along the way. And this is what has happened to us, and it can happen to anybody.
Katie, you're blessed that you have such strong family ties.
Yes, I wouldn't be here sitting in this chair talking with you if it wasn't for my family. And I do realize, how fortunate I am for them. My brother is the one in that video about the fictitious charges, where the phone calls of, various court employees saying that there's nothing in their file or the system. There's no criminal, no criminal action related to this. He's the one who made those phone calls. He's the one who makes phone calls to all these various things and documents this stuff. And so if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even have really known that these charges are complete, fugazi.
Yeah, because we played that several times. Because that's an unbelievable bit. That right there, what you made, Kevin, is unbelievable.
Yeah,
that was really just stunning to anybody who listens. You'd have to be. I mean, for them, that's why it always drives me nuts. We got somebody that we made a big deal out of. We had Sheriff, whatever. Why am I forgetting his name? The sheriff here, Felicetti. Talking all the way he's talking, and such a big deal. And we're gonna do this, and we're gonna put you in handcuffs, and we're gonna. But there's no charges, nothing. So nothing really happened other than let's take the kids.
Right.
Let me play one more. This is just a video that you did about bail, which is incredible in itself. Just giving a little flavor of Niagara County for everyone.
Was this the bail that was $50,000?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, and about a lady that took her children out of state. And they thought that she kidnapped the children and she took them to, I don't recall the state. It was just basic information they told me at the jail, if that's the one you're talking about, Niagara County.
It's Niagara County. Nobody wants to touch that county because it's a very difficult county to work with.
I don't handle that area. They're just too tough to deal with. A lot of bondsmen, and there's probably 10 or 15 in Buffalo. And there's nobody in Niagara County. And you got to figure out why.
Figure out why?
They don't want, because they don't want to deal with them. Nobody wants to deal with Niagara County.
Could I ask, why?
Well, because there's no leeway. There's no forgiveness. They want the money.
So yeah.
Wow. You've made some great. I will say this, Kevin. You made some incredible calls and videos that have to be preserved, because that stuff, no one ever gets to hear that.
Right.
That's crazy, and it's true, and it's been going on and on. Right, it's been going on for decades. So, oh man.
I mean, what they like to do is that's part of their kidnapping, trafficking playbook, is they try to terrorize the family so extremely extreme that the family's I can't do this anymore. This is affecting my life, my health. I mean, my brother even had to take how many semesters off too?
Yeah, I took 2 semesters off from school just because it was so bad.
Yeah.
With what they were doing, there's no way. But I ended up going back and
Yeah, he did get his degree, which I'm very proud of him for being able to do that with everything that was going on. But that's what they do, is they try to literally just attack the family so that the victim doesn't have any support, and that they can just do a quick steamroll and take those kids away from their mother.
Can you imagine how many single mothers that's happened to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they have nothing.
It has happened, and we have proof that I was not Peter Vito's first victim in this. He's been doing this since the late 90s, 97, I think. My brother uncovered some articles that were, you know.
So actually, it was. I just wanted to thank the anonymous tipster that actually sent me an email regarding it. There's an anonymous tip that came in that said, "Hey, you know, I know Peter Vito, that this isn't the first time that he's, you know, done stuff like this, and so, you know, they sent me some links with, you know, some additional materials as well. Come to find out, he's been doing this since about what was it, 1998?
97, 98, yeah.
As early as 1998. So that playbook that Peter Vito refers to in his video, he's actually referring, I believe, to his own playbook that he's developed a long time ago, and he's perfected it to a T. He knows what he's doing. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we're allowing children to be stolen. We just are. As the people of the county, we got to stop. You got to stop. This is unbelievable. I'm actually speechless.
It's the scare tactics that they put against these people who don't understand the justice system. You're told that you're going to be arrested. You're told all this stuff. You get scared and you step back.
Yeah. You do. And especially if you don't have means, or you don't have, like you said, a good family with you to give you support, because there's no doubt you would have to. They overwhelm.
We know some whose children were taken by the courts right now who are suffering, and they're afraid to speak out, and it's horrible.
We know so many now that I think about it. There's another one that's coming to mind that I'm not going to mention, but God, Kevin, first of all, I got to say to you, just incredible work you've done. We could do a whole show just with you, because this stuff, the information you have, I kind of want to know more, because you have probably a lot we didn't even touch on. This is insane, because you're going to you start to break away at this stuff, and the dots you've connected are, God, I think we kind of know some of the dots. Like, that's the thing, you know, Paso name comes up. Sadly, I think my name could even come up in here somewhere. Not me personally, but my last name. And I think there's a lot in here that's just, God, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're in Niagara County or any county you're in, this is going to happen to you if you're not willing to stand up and do something.
Yeah.
And you can't wait for it to happen to your family, right? You know?
Can't think that just because it's not happening to you, you don't need to be involved. It's not my business. So it needs to be your business. You need to get involved. Just even sharing what we're doing right now is a help. Share.
Guys, I'm glad you Katie, I guess my question for you guys is, what is, like, you know, people are out here. I got a ton of emails after your first one, which was really cool. Not email, private messages, DMs. Keep calling them emails because I'm old. And what do people do? What would you say? Like, if someone, what could they do to help, or what do you suggest? What do you both suggest?
So I think my next kind of like call to action was going to be, and I'll probably have this like, you know, arranged to be up and running, is to kind of maybe put up some emails to contact like local media and stuff like that. I know one of the guests that you did have on the, and I'm going to botch this name, it's the Girl Next Door podcast with Kate. Right. And they started covering her story because they said they got in like a flood of emails and phone calls saying, we want to, you know, why aren't you covering this? And I kind of feel like if the media gets, you know, some pressure from, you know, the community, like, hey, like, we know what's going on. Why are you hiding this? We want to know the truth. Like, you need to, like, we start reporting on this story. Maybe that would help. And then I'm not really sure what other things. I know we've talked about kind of having like peaceful protest kind of thing, which I don't know if protest is the word, but, you know, just where we gather at the court and hold up signs and let them know, like, we're here, we know about each other, we know what you're doing to women and children in our community, and we're not going to stand for it. Because, you know, they feel so comfortable right now because they've been getting away with this whole entire time, and I kind of want to disrupt that level of comfort in a peaceful way, of course, but to let them know, like, hey, we're not going to stand for this. You know, I'll buy the bullhorn. We can go on the side where I know Aaron DeLabio's court is, and I'll start, you know, doing what I have to do. And I would love to connect with other mothers who have been affected. And, you know, even if there's some fathers as well, I know fathers, this can happen to fathers as well. But maybe start planning on some things that we can do, and you know, in solidarity, and kind of like letting them know, like, we know about each other. We know this is not an isolated thing, because when I was forced into hiding, I thought I was the only one. I didn't even know that this was happening amongst our community, in our country, in the whole world, that this is happening in family courts, like the way it is. But, you know, yeah, I just want to be able to turn pain into doing something to make that pain like justified, like a purpose. So turning pain into purpose is basically, and you know what I mean? And not standing for it, because just by doing nothing, it's just letting these people get away with it. It's not going to stop. It's going to get worse. So yeah.
Okay. Because we of course, and all of us around the table here, I mean, we'll join you anytime, and we'll share everything and anything that you have if there's you know, because we believe everything you're saying, and we always have, and it's just unbelievable. The more that this gets unraveled every day with your stuff, with you alone, Katie. I don't know about you, but I feel like I get wowed every day on the insanity, the craziness, and the way that this has just been done. And it's right here. I said that about the ugly truth about the girl next door. I mean, we have, you know, we have sex trafficking right here. It's right here. I don't have to look at it in San Francisco or somewhere else, or at a border town in Texas. It's here by our own government. Took your kids. And I don't know. We're going to have to do something. You're right. Something has to be done. I mean, you want to get together? You guys want to do something? Well, we're peaceful protesters. We've been in the past. We can. Yeah. We've been thrown out, but that it's gotten a little crazy. But you know, whatever. Yeah. Right. Oh yeah, we almost got drive-by shot, but that's okay. But we enjoyed everything. Yeah.
You know, I just want to be able to, when I bring my children home, because that day is going to happen. Yeah. When Olivia and Mason come home, I want them to be able to see that all like the pain and suffering that they have gone through was for a reason. I want them to be able to say, look what we did, you know?
Yes. Right. Tiffany Ann Downs is, I want to read a couple things that she put up here. Because I know sometimes with these, the comments go fast. I desperately need court watchers. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., Judge Watazik, however you spell it, they're trying to undo the custody that Erie County judge gave me. My kids are petrified. It's Niagara County, Howley Street in Lockport. And she also says this: when it happened to my kids in DeLabio's court, I thought I was the only one. 6 months later, Katie's story hit the news, and she went into hiding not even 6 months after Judge DeLabio took the family court bench. With me, 2 weeks after Judge DeLabio started taking court cases in family court. So I just wanted to read that off to everyone. There's just so much happening.
And I've talked to Tiffany before. You know, I know what she's been through and everything like that. And she has a horrific story that happened to her by Niagara County court system. And yeah, and it's.
Go ahead, Gal.
What I wanted to know is what Watazik is she going in front of?
Is that the Wotasics, or is that Caroline? Is that Caroline?
Maybe Caroline, maybe. Yeah, probably. Maybe? Caroline. Or no, that's the other one then.
Yeah, Caroline.
Her brother.
No, Caroline's the judge now. She's
right.
not her. Okay.
But is this family? Oh, she's in family court?
Henry's wife.
Okay, but and she's got a brother that's a judge too. No. Caroline. Yeah, there's a brother.
Oh, is there?
Mm-hmm. There's a second Watazik.
And then there's a Kathleen. Kathleen Watazik. Gary.
Oh, it is Caroline. There you go. Oh, wait a minute. She says Kathleen.
Kathleen. Yeah.
Oh, then she said Caroline.
Okay. There's a brother. Watch for him too. All right. So Katie, I'm going to let you guys. I've held you again for well over an hour. Anytime. Well, we're never going to not be in touch. But anytime you need anything, as you. Like this, if you ever want a video, anything like that. Because anyways, for all you people out there.
Check True Justice for Olivia and Mason, her Facebook page. She puts everything out there. I mean, all the information's there. Share it.
But we can be our own media, though. Kevin was. Well, look what he did. I mean, with all that stuff, no media's going to ever do that. Not in a million years are we going to get somebody who does real investigative work. But Kevin did it. So we can do that ourselves with our own phones.
Yeah.
because if we wait on the local news, we'll wait forever until everything's all done and we're done. So all I'm saying is if you out there want to start using your phones, like do the things. Kevin, you were great. Call people and do that stuff, because that's when you get them. Like, you catch them off guard and they say some things.
Right.
And, that was outstanding, man. All right, we'll let you go. You tell us.
No, I just want to take the opportunity to thank you guys, John, Noel, Gail, Jerry, and Robin, for really, I know it can be scary sometimes, like putting yourself out there and advocating for the truth. I'm sure there's definitely retaliation for you guys, but you guys are making a difference, and we really appreciate, what you're doing for the community.
We actually like it.
Yeah, Jerry likes the retaliation. Yeah.
Motivational.
I'm sure there'll be
I know it's not for the faint of heart. So just, give you guys a pat on the back, because you guys are awesome, and we appreciate
So Katie.
Oh, there's Jerry.
Jerry, you are now part of the Braveheart Club.
Oh, thank you.
Oh God, yeah. She's
Bravehearts. Noel, Robin.
What you've been through, Katie, is unbelievably just, I can't even, we're all parents here, and we're all just want to, just get sick. Yeah, it's just, I can't take it. And Kevin, your sister who was on with us, Christina. You guys are unreal. And just please remember, we're going to follow everything you do, like we always do, repost all that stuff. But if you ever need anything, and come back on anytime you want, just send me a message. I don't care. We have no guest that would oversee you. So whatever time you want to be on, you're on. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Keep the faith.
Bye, guys. So that was, it's a little too.
Yeah, Liv, she's a huge help.
Oh
my God, yeah. Liv, I'll send you some of the links of the videos that were on the news. What they did to this girl and her kids. It's insane.
No, it is insane. It's like so ridiculous that I can't even.
Well, okay, come here.
Go ahead. Okay. Oh yeah. Come on.
My daughter wants to come on and say hi.
Go ahead, go say hi.
Remy.
Look alike, yeah.
You want to be on me?
You want to say hi?
So I really quick just want to show before we go off. I know I talked to you guys earlier about Callum Knight. Did what he did to this girl, was exposing her, taking pictures of her and putting it out there on the internet, trying to pay her off and stuff. When I said that there was video proof and evidence of it, there was video proof and evidence of him admitting what he did. So really quick, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but here's him admitting what he did.
This whole situation is honestly very suspicious.
Yeah, I know. It's.
So what was the profile? Then why didn't you just make a guy profile?
Huh?
Why didn't you just make a guy profile?
Because I thought guys would secure them, interview you.
Why off a random dating app that no one sees? Why wouldn't you use Tinder? Like a normal person. Why would you use pictures of my ass like that? Why would you use pictures that I would never post? There's a lot of whys here. So why would you pay me off to not? Why would you pay me off to like not say anything? Like I don't get the big deal. Why would you go so deep into a lie?
Why would I figured if I paid off, go away.
But why would you go so deep into a lie? I want to know why you went so deep into a lie.
Because I thought
you did something so bad you don't want me to find out.
No.
You did something.
No, I didn't. I swear to God, I didn't. I cheated. Yeah, I did something like that.
And he just said right there, I figured if I paid you off, it would go away. And so I just want to I don't know if you guys heard that, but that's him, this Callum Knight, admitting to what he did, admitting to paying her off and admitting to posting her pictures on there.
I know when we talked to this girl, there was a thought that because this guy is nice and people like him, that she wouldn't be believed.
Right.
These pedophiles are not going around telling people
they're not
pedophiles.
acting
or rapists. they're gonna act in a certain way so that they don't draw attention to
their
themselves.
narcissistic tendencies.
Yeah.
And you believe them.
And sadly, this is somebody who is possibly going to be a Niagara Falls firefighter, and we can't have that happen. We can't have somebody like that have more power.
Yeah, and add to the ranks of what we got, anyways. All right. So again, we went over, and that was Katie Rifford. I'm going to put up a picture again before we go of her kids, because I think everyone should pay attention here. Look at them. She hasn't seen them in 18 months.
Poor babies were handed over to somebody who didn't even want them.
And 4.5 years for the rest of the family, I guess she said, or 4 years. And they're hundreds of miles away in Massachusetts. So I don't know how Katie does it, because we're all parents sitting around here. And even if you're not, you could think about it, right? Yeah. I mean, how does that feel? My God.
Imagine.
And she's doing.
There's nothing worse that you could do to a parent.
Right.
And she's sitting there doing what she's doing. Incredible too. Yeah. Work. So we'll be with her every step of the way that we can.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Every time I get done with her, I don't know how to even finish because it's so freaking sick. Because we've talked. I guess one thing that is something, Noelle, is we've talked about this kind of stuff with corruption in Niagara County, and we've talked about Spilicetti, and we've gone all through everything. And then it's something when someone from the whole other wherever, we didn't know Katie Rifford, never heard of her. Right. And it all kind of does come around. Like it's all there. Yep. How do you get a Fossil's name in this?
Once again, the Fossils are involved in another corrupt situation, disgusting situation.
They seem to be involved in most corrupt situations around here.
Caffarel's involved in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From landlords to this. So it's, we should probably go next week. We'll have something else as usual. We'll have something on Monday.
Tiffany's story is really sad too.
I know. Let's see what she says.
Maybe we should have Tiffany on.
Yeah, I'd love to. I spent 6 months away from mine, and it drove me back to my abuser to get raped and abused for 5 years straight. I couldn't imagine even being apart from them again.
Hey, Gabriel. Hey. Best friends with his best friends with his son. Whose son? Fonso or Caparella?
Probably. I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Because they all go, and they all end up working for the government in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Filicetti. Oh, the one the son who's also been, well, basically didn't get in any trouble for what he did, but he should have been in trouble for what he did. That makes sense. So he has a connection.
See what I mean?
Why these guys
doesn't end.
Yeah, so he has connections right there. Filicetti.
See what else we got here before we go. Come on, Scott. I'm ready to storm the courts. I had to be talked out of disrespecting the mayor this weekend at the Italian festival.
I heard he was with Little Bakery.
And he's with Ligamari too.
Yeah.
And look who was running the Italian festival.
And Big Fat Carmine, who owes us money.
Yeah, Carmine does.
And they did a great job. So, anyways, why don't we go?
Yeah.
Kids are ready. We should probably get out of here at 7:15. All right, guys, we will be back next week. Keep an eye on Citizens United. We're on TikTok. We're on Rumble. We're on Twitter. We're here on Facebook. Noelle's always got her stuff. You're on TikTok. Are you on Twitter?
Yes.
You are on Twitter, right? Okay, and of course Facebook. So anything new comes up, if you check either one of these sources.
YouTube also, we're on YouTube.
YouTube? Okay, yes, we are on YouTube. Right, I always forgot about Friends with a Z Media Network. You can find all of our stuff. So that's it, guys. Take care. We'll see you next week if I could find our music to get us out of here. Maybe next week we'll have a normal show. I haven't done commercials. I haven't done anything. But all right, guys, take care.